So CMAs are comparative market analysis, in case anybody wasn't 100% sure on that. And this is the tool that we're utilizing in order to help our sellers determine a price for their home. Okay, so let's lead off from where we would end on a listing presentation in the next session. So our first time we go in for our listing presentation, we're taking all of our notes and doing a walkthrough of the property. We're looking at everything, we're snapping some photos just for our own personal reference. That's our first quick walkthrough of the home. Before you go back for your second appointment for a listing presentation, the second appointment is where you are showing them your value proposition, telling them what it is you do, coming up with a marketing strategy, talking about commission, and of course, presenting our CMA. So between the first and second meeting, you guys are going to have to do your market analysis. We always want to try and keep our first and second appointment for our listing presentation pretty close together. You don't want to lose that client in that time period. So make sure that you are giving yourself enough time. We do not want to set the second appointment when we leave and then have to reschedule because we couldn't get the CMA done in time. So if you need a day, if you can get it done in a day, great. If you're not really comfortable with CMAs and you feel like you need to have my support and help, or that you just need a lot of extra time, give yourself 2, 3, even 4 days if you absolutely have to. So let's talk about what you're going to do in that process in order to create a CMA. Has anybody here done a comparative market analysis before?
I have a little bit. Yeah.
Awesome.
I have a little bit.
Okay, perfect. A little bit. I like that. Okay. So what I'm going to give you guys today, I want this to be homework. And obviously this is for yourselves. I'm not going to be coming to you tomorrow asking for it. I would recommend that everybody within the next week pick a property, any property at all. It can be one that you previewed, one that you went on an open house for. It can be your own home. I don't care. Pick a property and do a mock CMA as if you were doing it for a client. Okay, your own home, you're gonna know better than anything else. So maybe try and pick something else. It could be a relative's home. It would be great if you could do it on a home that you've previewed during the week or last week, or even a property that's already sold. Just so that you get the feel for how to utilize the system I'm going to show you how to work with today. And just doing that really helps you understand the market better. At this point, 10 years into my real estate career, I already have a pretty decent idea of what the home is going to be valued at before I even walk in the door.
That's great.
All of the specific things of that person's home? Absolutely. But I go in with general knowledge without even having to look at the MLS system. If you practice this, you're going to get to that point a lot quicker than just waiting for your own experience through your own clients. All right, so any questions before we start?
Yeah, but it's not related to this. So should I leave it for after you're done this?
Yes. Yes. You and I can stay on after and I can help you.
So I have to go for a showing at, I have to leave my house at 10.
Okay.
So I will stay on till then.
Okay.
And then maybe we can, it's not that the showing shouldn't be that long. So
okay.
Maybe we
Just
can connect after.
You when we're finished. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen with everybody. Bear with me a moment. Does everybody here have access to their OREB dashboard and their matrix system? Yes?
Yes.
Awesome, perfect. Okay, good. All right, I'm going to share my screen. All right, so just to keep it really simple, just in case anyone doesn't know, you're logging into your dashboard, you're clicking matrix, and we're going to get to this page. Everybody's might look different than mine. You can move these things around. It doesn't matter what yours looks like. So in order to do a CMA, we're going to start with a search. This is just how I like to do it. So let's pick a property. Does anyone have a property in mind?
109 Spindrift Circle.
I didn't even know you were here, but you, of course, you are the one to.
Until I yelled into the screen. And
Yeah.
and I don't have matrix because I'm actually on the road right now.
Okay, that's no worries. This might be a little challenging for you to understand without having it in front of you, but if you need help later, let me know. Can you spell the street name for me, Heath?
109 Spindrift.
Sorry, I didn't get that. I was having a malfunction issue here.
That's okay. 109 Spindrift. SPINDRIFT.
Yep. DRIFD.
C like Tom.
Drift. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Thank you. I'm not getting that. I must be spelling it wrong.
I think it's ST. Could it be ST instead of a P? No?
SPINDRIFT.
Yeah. Like spin as in spin atop, and then drift as in drifting around.
Okay, I don't see any property with that number. I only see a sold on that street. So I'm just gonna pick a random one so we can continue on.
Okay.
All right, so let's just use this. Where is this? Oh no, see, I don't like to do that. I'm gonna use one in Barrhaven because there will be a lot of comparables. Let's do 77. Let's do Longfields area in Barrhaven. And I want to find an active listing. Oh, there's 22. All right, let's look at 81 South Point Avenue.
Okay.
All right, so this is the host we're going to be doing a CMA on right now. So I like to just do print as a PDF, and I just save it over here on a tab for myself so that when I go back here to search for comparables, I still have all the data right here. Okay, so you can do that. That's just a little tip. So first thing, we want to look through the pictures quickly because normally we would be doing this in real life, but for the sake of this fake one, I'm going to look through the photos.
Nice sky.
Nice what, sorry?
Sky in the background. Anyway.
Oh yeah, that's probably fake. Okay, so normally you would be walking through the property, looking at this. I'm just gonna get a basic idea of what it looks like so I can pick proper comps. All right. Okay, so to start your CMA, first thing you're gonna do is take your notes that you've made when you walk through the property. You have all your information about the property. You also want to go to Geo Warehouse. So up here on your Matrix tab, you're gonna click Geo Warehouse. And I'm just gonna copy and paste the property address. You always want to check.
Sorry, why are we going to Geo?
You always want to check Geo Warehouse, especially to ensure that the person you're doing the CMA for is actually the person that owns the property.
Okay.
Okay, that is like a security thing. It's also a privacy thing.
I think you gotta change Toronto to
It should
Ottawa.
automatically just come up. There we go. Okay, so we're putting the address into Geo. I'm clicking property report. From here, I can see the last sale was for $247,000 in 2007. I get the lot size, I get the assessed value. Please remember that assessed value and market value are not the same thing. Your market value should, in either a balanced market or a seller's market, be significantly more than your assessed value. You have all your information about the property here. You are going to need this for your paperwork, remember, right? So you need the PIN number, right? You have to put that on your listing docs. Down here, you need the ARN. That is the assessment roll number. And on your paperwork, it's just called roll number. You always need to put 6 zeros after that roll number on your paperwork when you're doing a listing. Okay, just a couple little tips outside of a CMA. Guys, also always remember that you can get demographics for the area. This is also good if you're working with buyers and they want to know about the neighborhood and you're not sure. Click this little demographics button and it genuinely gives you a breakdown. You can break it down by neighborhood, community, or city. So this is for the immediate neighborhood. 704 people in the neighborhood, 78,000 in the community, over 1 million in the city. It tells you it's 50% male and female, 22% are people married with children. It gives you the age distribution. This is great information for your buyers when you're looking at a property, especially for out-of-town people. It tells you the average age of the home. It gives you socioeconomic information, education level. You get cultural. Is it a mainly immigrant dominant neighborhood? This is good info to have. So just remember that's there. But mostly for a CMA purposes, we're just confirming our address. We're confirming the ownership of the property. So we have the owner's name here. I'm going to pop back over here and I'm going to start my search. So I know that I'm looking for homes that are in the Longfields area. With a CMA, you can pull active listings and sold listings. The only true data is the sold listings. So that's the only indication of what real market value is, are the properties that have been sold. So I'm going to go up here. We're looking for residential. I'm going to do a search just as I was doing a search for any other property. If it was for a buyer and I was setting them up on a search, that's what I'm doing. So for me, I do like to start off with actives. Actually, if I'm being honest, in this market, I don't even use actives. It's good to know them. Your clients are going to ask you, well, that host, I know that's my East Coast accent coming out the way I say host. I'm sorry. I just heard it myself. That home down the road is listed for sale. What is the price? You're going to look really bad if you don't know the price. So know your active listings. If it helps you to have them in your CMA so you can show them, that's great. If there's a lot of competition in the area, you absolutely want to have some actives. Buyers are going to compare your listing directly to the other listings in the neighborhood. So having your clients see what other properties are priced at and knowing that they shouldn't all be clustered here and you're like way up here in price, that's just going to make you look bad. So you can pull the actives, pull the solds. Right now in our market, I am only using solds for the last 30 days, unless it's an area where there is no data, where the comparables are just absolute crap and I need to like extend that time frame. So here you're going to go sold 0 to 30. We're looking for residential, and I believe this is a townhome. Yes, it's a row unit. So I'm looking for residential row unit, and it's a 2-story. I want to get the properties that are as closely comparable to mine as possible. So I'm putting as much information as I can in here. And I said it is 7706. So I'm going to add that here. Okay, you can do it that way. You can also just type the number in this box if you know the number. If not, I always find it easy to click here. And I know I'm in Barrhaven area, so I see that Barrhaven is in the 7.7s. Now, Longfields doesn't pop up when I click Barrhaven because it's Longfields. But I see that that's Barrhaven area and it's in the 7.7s. So then I'm just going to go 7.7 and then I find my Longfields property.
Mhm.
Another thing to remember, I'm going quick right now because a couple people have to leave and I really want to get through some of this with them. If I go back to my dashboard and I click this neighborhood district locator, I've shown some of you this before. This is how I learned Ottawa when I moved here, through this. So I'm just gonna pop over here, 81 South Point. I can type any address into this. And if I click on the box that it's in, it tells me what area it's in.
Hmm.
Okay, so I can click over here. That's area 7710. See, it comes up here. If I click here, it's area 7709, right? You can do that. You can really learn your areas well that way and your districts. Okay, so that's just a little tip. All right, so I have active properties, sold properties in the last 30 days. I'm looking in area 7706. I'm looking for residential row units that are 2-story. I also know that this home is a 3-bed and 2.5 bath. So there's only 9 listings in the last 30 days. So maybe I'm just going to narrow it down to homes with 3 bedrooms, and I get 8 matches, which I can see here. I can include as much or as little information about the property as I want. Chris, are you talking to me? Because you're on mute.
I actually have a question, Alex.
Sure.
How many properties should we put on the CMA? Like, is there a maximum for like, or a minimum, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I don't like to overwhelm people with too much data. It depends on the type of property. If you're looking at a property like this, a townhome in Barrhaven area, they're a dime a dozen. There's 1,000 of them, right? You're probably going to find a few that are very, very similar. If it's a home that's like, you know, builder, model, cookie cutter, I use 3 solds. 3 is the amount that I feel comfortable showing my clients. Now, if you're in a more unique area, let's say it's a country property and they're not cookie cutter and they're all very different, I might use 5 if I can find 5.
Mhm.
Okay, I like to try not to use many more than that. If you are going to use more than that, you can put more in your CMA, but I would pick 3 to focus on.
Hey, Alex, for that subject property,
Yep.
how did you save it over there to the other page again? I think I missed that.
That's okay. I literally just, I'll show you in a second, but I literally just clicked print to PDF.
I see. Okay.
And then it just popped up a new page so that I can print it, but I'm just holding it over there so I can look back at it.
That's good. That answered it.
Yeah. Chris, did you have a question? No? Okay. I saw your mouth moving before, so I thought you were trying to talk to me. Okay, good. Okay. So yeah, I would say 3 is the number that I like to actually review with my clients, and I'll show you guys why in a second. Okay. So I have my 8 matches. I'm going to click results. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4 of these are sold and 4 of them are active. So this one I can eliminate right away because obviously this is the one we're working with and normally you're not going to have that. I always start by looking at my sold properties. So I'm going to start looking through these. I already don't love this one as a comparable because I feel like the other one has a completely different aesthetic on the exterior. If I can find something more similar to this, I'd prefer to use it. So I'm just going to skip that for now. That one I like a little bit more. It's a 3-bed, 2.5 bath. I'm going to just take a quick look at it. I always look at things like in terms of finishes, right? How comparable is it? In terms of layout, how comparable is it? Size. Those are kind of our main factors. So I just look through the photos of the comparables. I know what my property looks like, and I can give a pretty basic idea if, you know, a buyer that's looking at this home would also be interested in this home. That's
That
what
one looks better.
Which one?
That
This one?
This new one looks better, right? Or am I wrong?
No, I agree. The other one has an old kitchen. That's clearly the cabinets have been painted. This is much more new. This does have old parquet floors, but they don't look bad. The bathrooms are dated, right? So you're looking for things like that. Okay, so let's just say I want to choose this as one of my comps. I'm going to click it here. Guys, this session is recorded. I don't like to post the sessions on YouTube publicly because I want you guys to come to the in-person sessions and I don't want everyone else in the world seeing what we're doing. But I do post these on my YouTube channel as a private file. So if any of you want the link to that to look at it after, or if you have to leave early, just ask me and I'll send you the private link so that you can review it later. Okay, so we're clicking this, we're highlighting that listing. We're coming over to the next one. Let's just say we like the look of this. We come through, we have a look. Okay, great. I probably actually wouldn't use this one as a comparable. It looks
You
a lot.
would not? You would not? No,
No, I don't think I would.
No,
It looks a lot
no.
bigger, a lot more updated.
right.
But for the sake of time and just showing you how to do this, we're going to use
Okay.
it.
Okay.
And then here's the last one. We're going to look through. You also want to look at the age of properties. You know, I don't necessarily want to compare a home that was built in 1985 to a home that was built in 2015.
Right.
When is a scenario that I would do that? If I had a home that was built in 1985 and one that was built in 2015, what scenario would I use that as a comparable? Someone point.
Appreciation.
Okay, I think you're kind of on the right track.
When the 1985 home was completely redone inside to compare to the 2015?
Bang on, Dora. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. So, so if that home in 1985 has been renovated, I'm going to use it as a comp, right? It's still a home that was built in 1985, but they've completely updated it. It has a new furnace. It has a new roof. It's essentially now as on par as we can get with a newer home. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to click this one again. So now I have found my 3 comps for solds and I've clicked them. I'm going to go back and look at the active listings. I want to include those. I'm not going to look through these guys for the sake of time. I'm just going to assume that they're comps. And I'm going to save those. Down here is where I want to do my CMA. So I'm going to click, everybody sees that, right?
Now I do. Yep.
Okay, I'm going to click CMA.
Yep.
And I want to select the contact that it's going to. If I don't already have them in there, I can create a new contact. I'm just going to do it for myself. Up here on this bar here, you can click back and forth to these throughout your time of working on your market analysis. So I've done this part. There's no save button or anything at this point. I'm now just moving to the next part. Which pages do I want to put in my CMA? So this is what I use in mine. If for some reason the particular property has something unique about it or the situation is unique, I may add something else. Okay, you guys are going to learn how to tweak things. It's not always just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 step by step. Everybody wants that. But that's not how it is. Every property is different. Every situation and scenario is different. Every homeowner is different. If I have a homeowner that I know is completely out to lunch on what they think the price is, I might add more pages in my market analysis about overpricing. I always talk about that in my presentation anyway, but I might double down on it. I have slides in my presentation about overpricing and the risks. And then I'm going to also put stuff in my CMA with charts and graphs. And they give all of you that right here. It's nothing you have to create. You just have to know what's here and know when to add it.
Right.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, oh, I can't. I don't know why. Usually there's a little, do I have this? I'm going to add everything in here just because I want you guys to see what it looks like. I personally don't like using this pro report. I just think it's way too much paper, but everybody is different. These things, you can read the title and understand what it is. I actually prefer to have a lot of these items under the static category in my presentation, right? I want to talk about pricing and the benefits of using a realtor and all that great stuff when I'm showing them my value prop. When I get to the CMA, I'm jumping right into the numbers. They've already been waiting for probably an hour at that point for me to get into it, and that's what they're waiting for. So I personally don't put this stuff in my CMA, but you can, lots of agents do. I like to put it in my presentation.
Presentation, okay.
Okay. I don't necessarily use these, but you can. Okay, so these are now the pages that I have. If I ever want to delete something, I just highlight it and delete it over here. If I want to move something to a different spot, like I actually want the source of buyers to go before where a commission goes, I'm just moving it up or moving it down. Okay, you can change the order in which these appear. Okay, next up, subject. This is the property that you are currently trying to value. So the property that you're trying to get the listing for. So for this one, we're utilizing this property, so I can pull MLS data. If the property has never been on MLS, you cannot pull data. If the property was previously on MLS, you can use an old MLS number and it will pull the data from the old MLS listing into your CMA so that you don't have to fill a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to do fill. And now I get this. If you do not have an old MLS listing, you're going to have to fill this in manually. Keep in mind that you don't have to do all this. You don't have to have all the data about the subject property. They know what's in their home. I like to use it for comparison purposes when I'm going over the CMA. I have, okay, so your home has 3 bathrooms and this home has 3 bathrooms, and I have that on paper.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you have to, you will manually.
What did you,
put all this.
yeah, and what did you press to get to that sheet to fill it up manually? Like you were under subject?
Yeah, so I went to
just
subject
fill.
and I get this. I can either put an MLS number in, or I can click type in the subject property fields manually.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna do back to this for time's sake.
Yeah.
All right, so now we have all this. I don't really want to have somebody else's remarks in there if you're using an old listing. Also, I don't like to use someone else's pictures, especially if it's from a property that, I don't know, maybe they had on the market with another agent and it didn't sell. I don't want to show up to the CMA with the other agent's picture that the client has probably seen. I always snap a picture of the exterior of the home when I'm in my first appointment, either before I go in or right when I leave.
Good point, yeah.
Worst case scenario, go to Google Maps, take a screenshot if you forgot to take the photo. You can use this. I have used it in the past. You absolutely can, but it's nice if you can take your own photo. Okay, so that is that. We're gonna go over to the next piece, which is cover. So you should already have all of your information in Matrix, and you can edit it from here if you want to. Okay, in order to edit some of this stuff, you've got to click override, and you might have to go into your settings on Matrix in order to do that. Okay, so I'm just gonna go back. If I want to upload more photos or a different photo, I can just click browse and it brings me to my computer. And then I can pick a photo and upload something different there.
Okay.
Okay, this is this has my name right now, but this is the client's name. I just used myself as the client. So you can put all their information in. And then when you get your CMA, it says comparative market analysis for, and then it has your client's info. All right, let's get to the good part. This is the comparables. So these are the ones I've chosen. I've chosen 3 actives and 3 solds. And in yellow here, it's showing me my subject property. Okay, so I know I want to utilize all of those because I've already picked them. If I want to add more, I can go here, add from listings. And it brings me back to my search. If I feel like maybe the ones I used weren't great and I wasn't sure of them, or I wanted to look at them again or whatever. Okay, but for now, I'm just going to go back because we're going to use those ones. Now I've already highlighted them all, so I'm just moving to the next page. That's my map. And it's just gonna show me. I like having this in my CMA so I can show my clients where exactly these properties are in proximity. So this is their home. The green are the active listings and the red are the sold. Okay, it's just showing you that. I'm going to adjustments. Okay, so I've talked about this before. This is not where I personally like to do my adjustments. I have my own sheet for adjustments, which you guys can all find in the resources folder. I've put it in there for you under CMA resources. You can use this. So an adjustment would be, let's say, let me try and find a good example here. So this one has 1 full bath and this one has 2 full baths. So I might give a full bath a 10, okay, yeah, this one has 2 because this is our subject. And one of these comparables I used only has 1 full bath. So I might give a full bathroom a $10,000 value. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add $10,000. I'm adding $10,000 to the sold property because it's not as appealing as the one we're trying to value. So I need to give my property that I'm valuing a more of a value because mine has 2 bathrooms and theirs only has 1. So if they're sold for $550 with 1 bathroom and everything else was the exact same, I believe mine can sell for $560 because we have another bathroom. I'm just giving you examples.
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense now.
This is not an exact science
Uh-huh.
at all, but it is a way for us to get to the right number
Okay,
or to be
Hey,
in the
Alex,
vicinity. Yep.
I think you gave us a list one time of like rule of thumb for the cost for each thing, right?
Yep. It's in that resources folder.
it
Okay,
is, eh?
You
Okay,
just- yeah. Let me just click on it quickly.
and share with me that one of those.
Yep. Look, so
Okay.
I'm going into my drive just like all of you would.
Yep,
And you guys are going to click shared with me.
okay,
Mine isn't going to look the same as yours, right? Because I'm the one that has shared it with you. But
okay,
if I go to my shared with me, I get everything that's been shared with me.
sharing is caring.
Yes, you guys are going to see a folder that says resources.
yep.
And then within that folder, there's all kinds of other folders.
Now it's in there.
Yeah,
What
let me
what
show
would
you.
that folder, okay,
So you won't see this part. This is on my end. You guys are just going to see this resources.
okay,
Okay. And then when you guys click on that, you will see all of these. For this, you're going to click CMA. And here's my adjustment guide.
adjustment guide, got it.
Okay. CMA adjustment guideline. If you guys even just type that into the search bar on your drive, you will find it. Okay. So this gives you the home value and the adjusted item. And these are just like kind of a good rule of thumb to use. The more the value of the home increases, the bigger the value for a particular item. Okay. So that's all in there. Going back to Matrix, let's look at a different scenario. So that one I added $10,000 to the sold property because it was not as good as mine. I need to add value to mine. What I'm trying to do is make my property and the sold property identical. So I'm doing that by adding value to the sold property wherever it's inferior to my property, pretending that it has that second full bathroom. What would it have sold for if it had that? Okay. If I'm looking at this one, which has 3 full bathrooms and mine only has 2, so mine is inferior in that situation. So what am I doing there?
Minus.
Yeah, so I'm minusing $10,000
Mhm.
from that particular property in order to make it identical to the property I'm trying to value.
I can't see because I'm looking on my phone. Do you just put a minus sign?
Yeah, can you see that better?
Yeah, it's okay. You don't have to,
Yep,
but
so
you can put a
minus.
minus sign. Yeah, either minus or plus, right?
Exactly.
Or no plus or, and a minus.
Yeah, minus, or I always do plus, but yeah.
Okay.
Be on that one. So the reason I don't particularly like to use this is you get used to doing things a certain way, and I've just never used this. I've shown some of you what I use, and I'll show you again today. I find what I use is, for me, is easier for me to, it's more organized for me. I find it easier to go over it with my clients than what you'll get from this. I also add additional things that I would think should have adjustments attached to them. And this, you only get so many. So you get your total bath, your full bath, your partial bath, you get your ensuite, you get number of garage spaces, lot size, property taxes, total parking. Like a lot of those things, well, not a lot of them. Property taxes, I'm not going to be adjusting for because I'm using properties all in that same area. The taxes are going to be like right on par with each other.
You know what?
Sorry, go ahead.
It kind of sucks that they don't use square footage at all, eh?
Yeah, so we don't put square footage on our listings in Ottawa because there was too many issues with what the agent had on the MLS versus what the actual square footage was, and it was causing liability. So they don't put it anymore. I think it's ridiculous, personally. It's the
Well,
first
you guys,
question we get asked when we go into a home. So
did you guys use it out east?
yeah, always.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of those crazy things I had to get used to here.
So do you know that you can find the square footage from MPAC?
Yes,
You can always tell them, according to MPAC, it's this.
Thank you, Haiyan. I appreciate that. That's great. That's really great info. Yeah, if you guys look on MPAC, you can find the square footage. You cannot warrant that information. So you can give it to them, but just say, we don't warrant the information we give you. It's coming from MPAC. You can have a look yourself. Here's what I found. Okay. Thank you.
Do you have to buy it? Do you have to pay for it on MPAC?
It's free.
Free in MPAC.
Yeah, it's just MPAC. Just go there and you put in the address, you can check.
That's awesome.
Okay,
Thank you.
MPAC.
All right, so let's say we've put all of our adjustments in. Now we're going to pricing. So it's just giving us a little bit of an idea of what we're going to come out with. You can type something in here if you have a suggested list price. I will tell you that I personally don't put what I believe the list price should be on my paperwork until I'm sitting there. I go over everything with them, and then as I'm telling them the price, I write it down. I don't know why. It was something that somebody taught me a long time ago, and I just have gotten used to doing that. The reasoning behind it is because if they can see what your suggested list price is on your paperwork, they're not listening to anything you're saying. All they're focusing on is that number that they can see that you are going to tell them is going to be your list price. I want them to hear everything that I have to say as to my reasoning and the data that I've pulled and why I'm giving them that price. So I don't put it anywhere on the document until I'm ready to say it. And as I say it, so with all that being said, I would recommend that we list your home at, and I write it right there on the paper. Or
That's really good.
recommend your home, recommend we list your home between, and I might give a small range. Guys, please don't go in and give like a huge range, like a $50,000 range. You are giving way too much power to the seller in terms of what happens with that property and what your strategy needs to be and how hard you're going to have to work. If you're giving a range, it should be like within $10,000, $20,000 max. And you should be really confident that no matter which price they pick, you're going to be able to sell it there. Other than that, give a firm, solid, this is the price.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure they never pick the lower price, right?
Well, it depends on what you've talked with them about prior to showing them the price. In my
if they like,
presentation, I talk about strategy, right?
Yeah, like if they like multiple offer to create a bidding war or whatever.
Right. Which we're really coming out of now. So that doesn't work on every property anymore. But yeah, exactly. And you're going to discuss those different types of strategies and what's happening in the market and what's happening in their current area and what the best strategy for their home would be. Any questions about any of that stuff? No? Okay. So now I'm going to go to finish. And I'm going to tell you guys the first few. Hi, Yun, you've done CMAs before, right?
Yes.
Okay. And how long did your first one take?
1 hour plus,
Okay. And how quickly can you do them now, do you think?
20 minutes.
Thank you. That's what I was expecting for an answer. So guys, the longest part of this is going to be picking your comparables because you're going to be so unsure. You're going to feel like, is this the right comparable? Or maybe I should use a different one. I don't know. Cookie cutter homes are easy. You can find super easy comparables in those suburban areas that are home after home after home that all look the same. Super easy. You can find a million. It's those ones that you come across that are not so cookie cutter that become challenging, and you're going to question yourself 1,000 times on the comps that you're using. Go with your gut instinct. It's usually right. And like I said, practice doing these, because not only will you get quicker at just utilizing this, but you're going to get really quick and confident in the comparables that you're choosing because you just know your inventory at that point. So like Hayan said, the first one took her maybe an hour or more. Gosh, my first 10 probably took me like 6 hours. I'm not kidding. Because I'm very particular and I second guess everything that I do. Right? I always am like second guessing my initial instinct, and I would go back and I'd look at the comps again, and I'd have my whole CMA done and printed and ready to go. And I'd go back and start changing the comps. I always ended up with the same ones that I started with. So just, have confidence in yourself that you know what you're talking about. I still do that sometimes. All right, so then we can come here. We can click the save button. This program does auto save. It auto saves as you're going. So every time you make a new change, it auto saves. If you want to be safe, every once in a while, click this save button, because there's nothing worse than getting to a certain point and then your computer dies or something happens and you've lost all your work. All right, at this point, what we want to do, we can see the pages we've selected. Like I said, I have selected every page just so you guys can see what all the pages are, but I don't use every page in my report. We're going to click View CMA. From here, you can print it, you can download it, whatever you want to do with it. You can email directly from here. I would recommend looking at it first, just to make sure it's all in order and there's no issues. Oh, because I included so many pages, it's going to take a minute. All right, so this is what it looks like. There are different options for the cover page. You can choose what cover page you want. I just picked this one. There's another one, I think, that like the home is in the background or something. Okay, so it gives you.
Sorry, Alex, where do you go to change your background and your colors? Because mine is super different and I don't like it, but I have never been able to change it.
It doesn't look like this?
No.
I don't know, honestly.
Okay.
You can
I'll keep on playing with it.
Does anyone know?
You can choose from the very front what kind of background you want.
Like up here?
Cover sheet with background, the very first one.
Pages? Is that what you mean?
Go to the right, the first one. Cover sheet with background. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a different.
Yeah. So here, if I click this, I can
Yes.
click this cover sheet.
Okay.
A second, I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. Let me get rid of some of these tabs. Okay, let's do save. Finish. But I don't think the colors and stuff, I don't think you can change that.
But then again, I was not doing the CMA the same way you are.
Okay, so maybe that's
different.
That could be why.
It's so much better. Lesson learned.
Yep. Okay, so here's one option for a cover sheet, and this is the second option. That's kind of more boring, in my personal opinion. But you can choose one of those. Okay, so what you get here is your summary of comparables, and that's what the page is called when you're choosing which pages to work with. I do like to use this one. It gives a good little summary of what I'm using. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I don't go through every single page of my CMA with my client. There's actually one page that I use and it's not even really in here, but I'll show you it in a second. This I personally don't like, but I don't use the adjustment tool on the CMA online here, but you can use this. A lot of people love this. It's just, for me, it's too much stuff. But it gives you basically your adjustments, right? Any adjustments that we've included, it shows them here. Okay, same thing, it's gonna keep going. This is the pro report. I also personally don't use this, but again, you can use it. There's lots of information in here. It gives you an outline of the active properties, so your clients can kind of see them. And then you get your sold properties. This is part of your pro report as well. It's just lots of charts. If you have a client that is very detail oriented, using something like this is great. If you have somebody that's numbers based and statistics based, this is great stuff to utilize. Okay, this is all part of the pro report. I'm going to keep going here. So this is one of the what we call static. It's the static pages. If you go over here and you can choose your pages, these are all static, right? So they're not necessarily about that particular property or about the price you're giving for that property. They're more about, you know, overpricing and why you should work with an agent and how timing affects your activity if you're on the market too long. These are the types of things that I actually put in my presentation before I jump into talking about my CMA. That's just, again, my personal opinion.
It's important, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and you can put all this stuff in your CMA. I would recommend putting it at the beginning of your CMA though, before you even get into showing them properties. If you're going to utilize this stuff, put it at the beginning and talk about all of this and then get into your pricing.
Because the market has changed so quickly, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
A guarantee you can count on. If you guys are putting a guarantee in your, again, my guarantee is in my presentation, not in my CMA. For me personally, a CMA is about the numbers. It's about the comparables, the value, and where I think they need to be listed. Okay, but this is in here, you can put it in. The effect of overpricing. Guys, these charts are awesome. They're really, really great. I would recommend utilizing them somehow. Okay, market analysis explanation. This might be something good for you to look at. You can go over it with them if you want. The importance of pricing again. Setting the price. These are all just tools to make sure that the person is on board. The pitfalls of overpricing. These are great charts. Like, the visuals are really helpful. Steps to a positive showing. Again, I don't put stuff like that in my CMA, but you can. What it takes to show. This is all the static stuff. Okay, and then we get back here. These are our minimums and maximums. So listing prices between 400 and 629 and selling prices between 609 and 625. Days on market. Like, to me, this is way too much stuff.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Review with somebody when they're literally just waiting for you to tell them price and you've already gone through a whole presentation about everything else. All right, brief summary of compared listings, pricing recommendation. It gives you some stats. This is where you could write in your recommended price. The benefits of using a realtor. Again, I'm going to be talking about all of that in my presentation. Where commission goes, that's something I talk about last. A lot of agents believe that's something you should talk about right away. I know an agent in Toronto, I think Sandy McKay's team, like their whole presentation is surrounding commission. And I think they do
Wow.
6 or 7%. And trust me, they are doing a lot more business than I am. So I'm not telling you what I do is right. I'm just letting you guys know what I do. I talk about my commission at the very end after I've gone over value prop and price. Some agents go in with it gung ho. It's just going to be dependent on your style. Sources of buyers. So this is again talking about why you should work with an agent, where buyers actually come from, and then your map layout of where the properties are. This is actually one of the things I show in the beginning. Before I even show them what the comparables are or what the numbers look like, I'm showing them, okay, I used 3 active listings and 3 sold properties. Here is where they are in reference to your home's location. So they're all in a fairly close distance. Okay.
So can you move those pages around? Can you bring number 31 to number 2 kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
In here, okay. No, it's, yeah, I remember you showed it.
That's okay. No
Just
worries.
drag and
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
drag is
I'm
there.
going to show you guys what I use, because there's an extra page that I use in my CMAs, and I think I've showed some of you before. Bear with me a minute. Gotta find my CMAs first. Okay, here's one, and I think this is the one I showed you guys last time.
Yeah, Alex, I would love to see that finished product. Like, do you mind emailing it to us or?
I can't, just because it's somebody's actual property. Oh,
Okay.
or do you mean the one that I just did?
Yeah, the CMA you just created. I'd love to read through it.
Yeah, I can send that to you, no problem at all. I thought you
Yeah.
meant one I'm about to show you, and I can't send that to you because it is.
No, yeah, that's a good idea, Heath. That's a good, just to read.
I will
Yeah,
definitely
because
do
I think
that.
I'll learn from reading that one.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like that too. That's a great idea.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'll send it to everybody. Absolutely.
Okay.
And also there's another good idea. You try to make one by yourself. So you can, yeah, you can see that, because I remember when I was trying to do CMA, I was nervous.
Yes.
Because when you do that, you will think about why you put this on, what's in there. And when the CMA report generated, you will say, oh, here it is. It's better.
Yeah, thank you very much. I did say that before you popped on, that I was giving everybody homework to practice the CMA. I said, if you want to do it on your own home, guys, another thing I would actually even recommend, and I want to try and get everybody more connected. If you guys want to have like a partner, maybe you could do a CMA on each other's property that maybe you could then present to the other person. That would be a really, really great role play activity to do. If anybody is interested in doing something like that, let me know. I think it would be great to be doing more stuff like that with one another. Okay, so this is what mine looks like. This is what I use. Cover page, obviously. I'm going to break this down into a single page doc here. I use the summary of comparable listings. I do like that one. I do like the minimum and maximum page. The days on market, I think, is great. List price and sale price graph. Brief summary of compared listings. And then this is my final sheet.
Yeah, I remember that, Alex. I love that.
Yeah, so this is what I use. I have put this in the resources folder under CMAs for all of you to utilize if you choose to. I am a pen to paper person. I also feel like this shows that I've put a lot of time and work into it, rather than just having like a computer generated thing. Again, there are lots of agents out there that don't use this, that do way more listings than I ever do. Okay, so I'm not saying it's right. I'm just giving you guys another tool that you can utilize if you choose. So what I do is I put the subject property, I include all of its information. And these are the things I use. Location, the lot size, the style of the home, the age of the home. I had to obviously get rid of square footage, but I might do what Hayan said now and use that website. Yes, thank you. Number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, the percentage of the basement that's finished. And guys, I'm guessing on that. Like that's an estimate based on what I've seen. There's not a science to it. The driveway, and I do garage, the interior condition, exterior condition. What is the floor plan like? What is the flooring? If I have info about the roof. And then I have a few little things here. If there's something specific that my home has, so for this one, it backed onto a green belt. To me, that is a huge, huge add.
Yes.
It had beautiful vaulted ceilings, or no, one of the comparables I used had absolutely gorgeous vaulted ceilings. I used that to do an adjustment.
Is
Right.
the vaulted ceilings plus $10,000?
So for this one, not always, no. I think it depends on the situation. That's what I chose for that. It's really, really, really important to understand that the values that you give to things, there's not an exact science. It's all going to be about what's in the neighborhood, what that particular home has to offer. I gave that particular property a lot of value for that because of where the vaulted ceilings were located. It had beautiful, huge windows that let in a ton of natural light. My client's home was very dark in terms of its location. So I did feel like there was a value to be added there. Okay, so it really just all depends on the situation, and you'll get better at that as you learn your inventory.
Alex,
Mm-hmm.
when you go to the listing presentation and after the report, do you suggest the seller to do some renovations?
Again, I think it depends on the property. Yeah, I think it depends on the property. And it depends on what they're wanting to get. If they're wanting to absolutely maximize the amount of money that they can get, and most of the homes in their area that are for sale have been updated and theirs hasn't in some areas, then yes. If they're happy to just sell as is, I am going to recommend a price that is based on what their home is.
Okay, so if it's in the really good community and
Yeah.
do
So
you suggest?
the ones I know you're talking about that Helen does,
Yeah.
yes, I think it's smart to notify them that they should probably update certain things 100%. Because like Hyun in those areas in like Canada, you're talking about, right? In some of those higher end areas with like $1 million homes. Yeah, absolutely. Buyers expect a certain level of
Current.
workmanship and modernized, and absolutely. I think that those ones are definitely important to give them some, feedback on what they should do.
Yeah, I went to 2 house showing to show my clients. One of the houses shocked me. Do you know, you do not know how bad it was? They just sell, they call it Sleeping Beauty. When I walk in, the floor was dirty and it was peeled and looks like 60 years it was. And also there's no light, the only 1 or 2 lights like working. And also the water is on the basement is shattered. There's no water in the house. And it's wet and dirty in the basement as well. But it was asking $499, sold at $611.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's in Alta Vista. It's a really good.
Right, exactly. So they priced probably lower than what homes are selling for there, knowing that there was renovations needed. Yeah, so every property is different and it depends on what the client is willing to do. Your job is to take whatever you have as a product and price it properly. So if they're going to update it and renovate it, great, you can price higher. If they want to sell it as is and they don't want to do anything, you need to price accordingly.
Right.
Right. So that's something that you should be asking when you're going through in your first walkthrough, right? Maybe that's a conversation you want to have. If you go in and you see that it's really tired and kind of falling apart in some areas, ask them, are you wanting to sell the home as is, or are you looking for me to give you a price based on updates?
That's a good one.
Are
Okay.
you willing to do any updates? Are you willing to do any renovations?
Okay.
Now you kind of can open up a can of worms that way, because they're going to ask you, well, what could I sell it for as is versus if I update it? And they're going to ask you 1,000 questions about what it would cost and what you should do. And so just be prepared for that. But yeah, I think that That's it.
That's great. Yeah. this one's
And these,
valuable.
I just want to show you how I do my adjustments on here. Exact same way on the other end. I'm just adding 10, subtracting 5, whatever it is. And then I'm getting an average. Okay, when I do this with my client, I actually physically cover the other columns. So I would cover this up with a piece of paper or my book or something, all of the rest of this page. And I'm just going over, okay, this is your home. Here's all the features of your home. So the first comparable that I utilized, and then I move my book over and I cover all this part. And then I start going over the first property.
Mhm.
Again, just how I like to do it. I find if I just put this paper in front of them, their eyes are bouncing everywhere and they're not
Yeah.
listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true because it can be confusing looking.
Yeah. And again, this is just my style. I guarantee you Helen does it completely different. Helen has a way bigger business than I do. She does a ton of listings. I don't know what she does, but I've heard it's pretty good.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, you know. So there's all kinds of different ways. I recommend that if anybody is ever teaching a session on listings or CMAs or anything, don't just go into it thinking that you know because you've heard from me. Go to those sessions. You can always learn something from somebody else.